Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
We'll read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 4, Text number 21. Tasyogra danda samvigna sarve loka samalaka anyatra labdha sharanaha sharanam yayurachyutam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Everyone, including the rulers of the various planets, was extremely distressed because of the severe punishment inflicted upon them by Hiranyakashipu. Fearful and disturbed, unable to find any other shelter, they at last surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. Purport. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 5.29, Bhoktaram Yajnatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Sahridam Sarvabhutanam Gnatva Shanti Uchati. The sage who knows me as the ultimate purpose of all sacrifices and austerities, the Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is actually the best friend of everyone. In a condition of distress or misery, one wants to seek shelter of a well-wishing friend. The well-wishing friend of the perfect order is Lord Sri Krishna. Therefore, all the inhabitants of the various planets, being unable to find any other shelter, were obliged to seek shelter at the lotus feet of the Supreme Friend. If from the very beginning we seek shelter of the Supreme Friend, there will be no cause of danger. It is said that if a dog is swimming in the water and one wants to cross the ocean by catching hold of the dog's tail, certainly he is foolish. Similarly, if in distress one seeks shelter of a demigod, he is foolish, for his efforts will be fruitless. In all circumstances, one should seek shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then there will be no danger under any circumstances. Om Ajnanatimidam Dasyam Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamayam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sarvajatam Sahagana Raghunatamritam Tam Sajivam Sadavaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Sunday feast. I think I'm going to hold the mic. It's not staying. Hare Krishna. Some incident in my life triggered this topic to speak on. I'll share that incident in the middle of the class. But when we say shelter, we listen to this word, especially in ISKCON, a lot. Like shelter. Oh, I took, when it comes to, if you're not initiated, if you're going to temple, people ask, where did you take shelter? Somebody says, I took shelter of so-and-so spiritual master. Or somebody says, oh, because of in my happiness and distress, I took shelter of so-and-so. What does this mean, to take shelter? Are we really taking shelter or not? That triggered me with one incident in my life. I'll share that. So, even in Vallabha Sampradaya, what do they chant? We chant Hare Krishna. What do they chant in Vallabha Sampradaya? They say Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Sharanam is basically shelter, refuge, right? So when will we take shelter? When in life, when we try to look for a shelter, when basically majority of us, we look for a shelter when we are distressed, we are tired, we are unhappy, we are totally upset with something in life. Then we try to look for a shelter. So what kind of shelters we look for? Mainly when we think of shelter, we think shelter is, many people, majority of humans, shelter is their physical protection, right? Many people think physical protection. Something happened, somebody is there physically for me to help. Somebody is there physically to do something for me. Trying to look for the physical shelter. But shelter is more than that physical proximity. Shelter is not just that physical proximity that we are looking for. Because being children, small children, like we have all the Sunday school children, if the teacher says something or something happens in school or something they are upset with in school, where do they run? They run to parents. They come and tell parents, oh daddy, this is what happened in school today, I'm so upset with this teacher, or something else. When we are upset, parents are upset, where do we run? We don't know. Because we being an adults, we cannot run to our parents for everything again. Our parents are now in 60s, 70s, 80s. We cannot run to them for shelter. So where are we running for shelter? Did you ever think of that? Where am I running for shelter? When something happens to me, when I'm tired, when I'm distressed, when I'm depressed, where am I running to the shelter? How I'm dealing with this life struggles. Struggles comes for everybody. There are struggles for everybody. When struggles comes, we are depressed. We don't think, many of us, we don't think how to come out of that struggle. Using that struggle itself, we can come sometimes. We can come out of that struggle and find a solution for that struggle. Just to like an allegorical story, it's not like really happened or anything. But allegorical, there is one donkey, it fell in the well. So there is no water in the well, but it fell in the dry well. It's been 2 days, 3 days, and it was, trying to come out, and the owner is trying, they couldn't bring her out. And finally thought it didn't even have any energy to make any noise. So the owner thought it's dead. Right? So he started pouring, with a heavy heart, he started putting mud into the well. So he's pouring mud. So when it started pouring mud, it came to consciousness, the donkey. And then once little pile comes, it started stepping on that pile. And he started pouring more and more and more and more. Finally, using the same mud, the donkey could come out of that struggle. So similarly, in our life, we'll get so many struggles in life. Sometimes it looks very small, sometimes it looks very big. In somebody's eyes it might be small, but for us it's really big. But what do we do when those struggles comes? Where are we running when those struggles comes? Right? We need to learn that in our life, because in my personal life, in my experience, I've been born and brought up in India. So I've been born and brought up in India. So anything that comes, I run to my parents, I call to my parents. Then there are some struggles that I just cannot share with them. I just cannot. What do I do? Where do I find shelter? Then, by Krishna's mercy, I met my spiritual master, where I started taking shelter, where I started sharing my agony. May not be in physically trying to be in front of him, but through his lectures, through his wisdom, I try to find some shelter. Right? Sometimes, because what happens, the struggle comes, we think that's the end of the life. That's it. Nobody is struggling in life more than me. That's it, we put a board. I am the most unfortunate candidate in this entire world. I am the only one who is struggling the most. Nobody else is having anything. But when we start talking to people, when we start really communicating with people, conversing with people, then when they start sharing, it's very difficult to listen what they go through. Then our problems looks like very small. Right? One daughter, she goes to her father, and then her father is a cook. And then she started sharing, in my life, my husband is like this, my in-laws are like this is what is happening, that is what is happening. I am the only one who is not happy in this world, I am the only one who is being tortured mentally, physically, And then her father started cooking. He has 3 pots. In one pot he threw the potatoes, in one pot he threw eggs, and in one pot he threw some coffee beans. And he started cooking, and she's crying and sharing. And finally she's so frustrated that he's not responding. He's like, oh okay. So he keeps on sharing things like that, right? So she's so frustrated. Like, what do you mean, okay? Can you give me some solution for this? Or can you give me, can you pacify me? Can you give me some support? What do you mean, okay? So you're okay that I'm struggling? You're okay that, I'm going through all this? And then her father gave her 1 potato out of that. Everything is done cooking, he gave 1 potato. He said, hold this potato. And he said, hold it and feel it. And then she feels it. He said, how is it? He said, it's very soft. And so is it ready to eat? He said, yeah, it's ready to eat. And then he gave the egg. He said, how is it? I said, yeah, it's good. So you can open the shell and take it out and eat. And what do you feel with the coffee beans? They're like, oh, it's giving some nice aroma. He said, this potato, before it went into this boiling water, it was hard and it is useless. But going through that struggle, boiling in that water, it came out nice. It came out something useful. This egg, before it went into the water, it was not ready to eat. You cannot just drink. Of course, some people drink some raw eggs, but in general, on a human basis. But so he said this egg was, very waggly, woogly, whatever you call the word. So it was not like that. Now it is ready and hard. It became hard. And these coffee beans, just the beans, but when they boiled in that water, it started giving nice aroma. So the struggles in life are meant for you to become something that you are not now. The struggles wants you to grow in life. So we need to learn to grow through those struggles. But how do we grow? We need some guidance. We need to know how to react or respond in those situations. And we need some guidance from seniors. That's why we have this beautiful community. We have so many senior Vaishnavas, so many senior Vaishnavis that can guide us through these struggles. And through those struggles, we can become like a gold. Right now we feel like maybe I'm like an iron. My heart is so hard, I am like this, I am like that. But those struggles can help to come out. And those struggles can help us to become something which we are not today and which what Krishna wants us to become in future. Trinada Pisanichana. He wants us to be humble, he wants us to be nice, he wants us to show compassion. So, because what happens in the scriptures, Prabhupada has given us all these scriptures. The scriptures are saying, emphasizing that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is your father, Krishna is your mother, Krishna is everything. But it is not sinking in our life. That's the biggest problem. Now I'll tell you the real incident that happened in my life that triggered me to take up this topic. As many of you know, I started working as intervention substitute in schools. Not regular kids, these are all very special needs kids. Some kids, they can't speak, some kids, they don't know what they're doing, everything we need to prompt for them. And they really don't know what they're doing. They cannot speak, they cannot write, some people. So we go with them to the classroom. People who can a little bit speak, they are sending to the classrooms. Everybody goes to the classroom basically, whether you speak or not. But we sit with them and we listen to the teacher, what he's explaining, what topic he's explaining. And the topics are given to the specialist, in the intervention specialist they had. Okay, this week this is what we are covering in the classroom. So the intervention specialist will have a shorter version of the same thing for these kids. Like if they have 15 questions in the quiz, the intervention kids will have everything in the picture form. The same quiz in the picture form. Say they are talking about earthquakes, they're talking about this blade, that blade moving down. So here they will have a blade, the picture of the Titan, the blade names, and then they draw the pictures. They just have to match it, the intervention specialist kids. So one day some kids are one-on-one. That means we cannot we get in the group, but this kid, he just have to be with that kid, that's it. We cannot focus on any other kid. So when they have like that, we go 2, 3, 8 goes for 4 kids. That means there are special needs kids that needs one-on-one attention. So like that, I have been given one kid, she's an 8th grader devotees. She is not a 1st grade, 2nd grade, she is an 8th grader. She cannot speak a single word. And they have these special iPads with software where they can just click the word and then the word comes. Everything will be in pictures, who, what, everything, and then they just say, I am, everything will be in word, and then just have to open and say, I am hungry, I am thirsty. They'll just, this girl, she don't even know how to use that iPad. They have been training her from her kindergarten, but still, because of her inability, she couldn't catch how to use that iPad also. So basically, she cannot speak. She don't know how to use the iPad. Everything we have to prompt. You have to drink water, drink. You need to go to the bathroom. You have to walk. Oh, come on, let's walk. Everything we need to prompt to her. So I took her to a gym class, PE class. So, and everybody is running and making all these big noises. I take her onto the side of the room, it's in the gym, and then we just sit and play ball. I just catch the ball, she throws back, roll the ball, throws back, like that. One day after the class is over, I came out of the gym, and next to the gym there's a library in this particular school. It's Hyatt Middle School. So there's a library, and then as soon as I came near the library, one lady came opposite to us, and she said, I'm going to take her at 12:45. That time it was 9:45 around. So she said, I'm going to take her at 12:45 to the restroom. I'm like, especially with intervention kids, we have to be extremely careful. Otherwise, we will get sued. We can get to the jail, anything, because we just cannot anyone to take a chance. As soon as this lady came, I literally was holding on to her physically. Usually, we are not allowed to have any physical contact with the children. We just have to prompt them to walk, to do things, but we are not allowed to touch them or anything. But when this lady came in front of us saying, I'm going to take her at 12:45, I immediately hold on to her, because this girl, she doesn't know anything. I don't know if she wants to walk. She said, walk with us, she may walk with her, So I'm holding on to her tight. I'm like, excuse me? She said, I'm going to take her at 12:45 to the restroom. I'm like, I said, I'm so sorry. I cannot let her go with you at whatever point of time you want to take. You need to talk to my intervention specialist, or some other aide is coming during lunch at 12:20, so you can talk to that aide and the intervention specialist, then you can take her. While I'm talking to her, this girl, she was leaning on to me. So I thought she's really scared now. She's looking at this lady, she's really scared. So she's leaning on to me and she was holding me like this. I'm like, oh, she's more scared, so I'm holding on to her more tight. She's scared. And then I said, I'm so sorry, I cannot let you to do anything to her. And then I took her back to the classroom. We have special SLC classrooms where these kids sit. And then I went and I informed the intervention specialist, I don't know who is this lady. She came and she said she wants to take her at 12:45 to the restroom or somewhere, I don't know. But I said, not allowed, and so you can talk to her, maybe she will approach you. So I just gave a heads up to the intervention specialist. And then my intervention specialist started laughing, rolling on the ground. I'm like, what the? And then she was sharing with the other aide, hey, Annie, look what Mrs. V was saying. And I'm like, did I do something wrong? What did I do? And then she started laughing. Everybody is laughing in the room. All the aides are laughing. I'm like, my God, this is such a serious issue I'm sharing. You guys are laughing. I'm like, what? What's going on? Why are you laughing? And she said, oh, Mrs. V, that's her mom. This girl, she could not recognize her mom. She could not go and give her a hug. She's asking, can I have a hug? But she's holding on to me tight. But at that moment, when that incident was happening, I was so proud of myself that I'm protecting this girl. And when all these people started laughing, I'm mad first. And what is going on? And then they started laughing. Oh, she's her mom. She volunteers here twice a week. And then I was like, oh, okay, so I'm going to go apologize to her later on. And then then next period I went to 6th graders, and then at lunch I'm sitting and I was thinking, because something happens in life, I always try to pray to learn some lessons out of it. So I was thinking, what will be my lesson from the situation that happened today? So I was putting myself in that girl's position. Right? I was putting myself in that girl's position. I was thinking, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, He is my actual father and mother. And in this material world, life after life, I was holding on to Maya, not recognizing my own father. He's coming and standing in front of me and telling me, baby, I am your daddy, I am your father, I am your mother. But I am scared looking at him, my own father, Sri Krishna. And I'm holding on to Maya, saying, I'm going to go with her, not with you. Then I was thinking, where am I taking shelter? Where am I taking shelter in my life? I could not recognize my own father. And Srila Prabhupada, he sacrificed his life, giving so many scriptures, translating so many books, telling me, Vrajabhakti Devi, this is your father. But still I could not recognize my father. I'm trying to fall back on something else that is not mine. So then I started introspecting myself. Everybody says, oh, she's practicing Krishna consciousness for 2 decades, 3 decades, 4 decades, whatever decades. In these decades, where did I take my shelter? Why we feel that emptiness in the heart sometimes? We are so much depending on parents. When parents goes away, some emptiness comes in the heart. And we try to find that same shelter in husband. When husband is mentally, physically going away, again emptiness. Then we try to find shelter in children. And children, they may take care of you, they may not take care of you. There is emptiness in the heart. So there is always a shallow in the heart. So why I am like this? Why I'm not taking my life seriously? Why I'm not taking Prabhupada's scriptures seriously? Why I'm not trying to find shelter, that real shelter in my life? That's what we're going to take up this topic. That I am not finding actual shelter. I'm trying to practice, but externally. Whatever I'm practicing is all external practice. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came 500 years ago, or 550 years ago. He came and he gave the holy name. He said, everything is in this holy name. Chant these holy names. Find your shelter in the holy name. But how am I chanting? How is my chanting going? My chanting, like we hear about many things about 6 Goswamis, Acharya, Srila Haridas Thakur, many of our even right now living gurus, they sleep 2 hours, 3 hours. They can't sleep because they couldn't finish their rounds. They can't sleep because they didn't finish their readings. They cannot sleep because they couldn't finish their services. And unfortunately, as soon as we hold the bead bag, we sleep. We don't need to struggle for anything. As soon as we hold the bead bag, immediately we sleep. As soon as we open the scripture to read the book, we sleep. 1 page, sleep. We don't even pass 1 paragraph sometimes. And we feel like I really accomplished something today. I read 1 paragraph in the scriptures. Such an accomplishment. And somebody calls, oh, today is such a productive day of my life. That's what we are. We are taking so much pride in our abilities. We are taking so much pride in our own accomplishments, which doesn't have any meaning. Because when the distress comes in our life, we are looking somewhere else. We are not finding that inner shelter. We have to fill our heart with that shelter. We have to fill our heart with that mercy that Krishna is giving to us. Then when something happens, definitely things will happen. We're like standing in the ocean, we cannot say, I don't want to get wet, I don't want to get wet. You do get wet, Baba, you're in the ocean. Similarly, we are in this material world, struggles will come. But when the struggles comes, we have to learn to take shelter internally. When we try to take shelter internally at the lotus feet of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, then we will be able to deal very maturely also those problems that comes in life. Otherwise, there is no difference between a practicing sadhaka like us and people who doesn't even chant or who doesn't even know who is Supreme Lord. Thank you, Braj, for waking everybody up. One time my Guru Maharaj told me, told in the class. He said, that day in the Bhagavatam class, every few minutes 1 phone is going up. He said, do you know how many ringtones exist in Mumbai? Everybody is like, Haribol. He's like, you come to Bhagavatam class, you will know. so coming to classes, sometimes we forget to put things on vibrate. Anyway, so our shelter should be at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. And sometimes we may say, oh, why can't I take shelter of Vaishnavas? Yes, we can take shelter of Vaishnavas. But if that particular Vaishnava or Vaishnavi is guiding you and putting you in the direction of the Supreme Lord, if we are getting the directions in such a way that, oh, you are awesome, you are the best, you can do anything, you are the best, whatever you are doing is perfect. Nothing, you can never do any wrong because you are the perfect person. That kind of guidance will not help us. We need to have guidance where people should be able to correct us. And even if they correct us, we should be able to take it also. Right? So, finding shelter, and sometimes what happens is, as I said many times, we're depending on the people around us. And we have so many examples in Bhagavatam that to show that doesn't work. Draupadi's example, she has 5 husbands, not 1 people, 5. So what happened in the Kuru Sabha? When Duryodhana and Dusasana were insulting her, none of them couldn't do anything. Bhishma, he's famous for his jewelry and his he was such a warrior. Dronacharya, Krupacharya, all 5 husbands, so many people are sitting. Can anyone help her? No one. And even when Draupadi, when she started taking shelter, what did she trying to do? Initially, what did she do? She was holding her sari with one hand and she's trying to call Krishna. Come, Krishna, come, Krishna, Krishna. And then Krishna was playing with Rukmini in their court in Dwarka. When she says Krishna, and Krishna gets up and then he sits back. Again she says Krishna, and then he gets up and then he sits back. Rukmini is like, what's going on? What is this game? Sitting up and down, up and down. She's like, Draupadi is in trouble. And he's like, then why don't you go? Just go. He's like, no, she still has confidence in her ability that she can protect herself. Because she's still holding her sari with the other hand. The moment she leaves her both hands and put her hands in the air and say, oh Govinda, oh Keshava, oh Krishna. And Krishna comes in the form of unlimited sari. Gajendra. What did Gajendra do? Why did Gajendra got into the trouble? Gajendra did not go for fishing. Why did Gajendra go into the water? He went for vacation. Right? Like we all go to Florida beach or some beaches. Gajendra went to, in those mountains, he went into those waterfalls for the vacation with all the family members. And he's showing his powers to all the family members. Look at me, I'm like this. And he was throwing and water on each other and playing. And everybody's like, wow, he's so powerful. Everybody's thinking so powerful. And whoever is around that lake, they all ran away because Gajendra was so powerful. So everybody left. And all of a sudden, what happened? Crocodile came and caught onto his leg. And then what did the family members do? They tried to pull him. But could they do it? No. So they're all standing on the shore crying for help. But Gajendra struggled and struggled and struggled and struggled, and finally when he called for Krishna, when he remembered the prayers from his previous life, when he offered that lotus flower out of that struggle to Vishnu, Vishnu came and protected him. Same thing in our lives. When the struggles comes, we have to learn to remember the Supreme Lord. We have to learn to take shelter of the Supreme Lord. And Krishna is waiting. When the struggle comes, Krishna is like, I hope she's going to turn to me, she's going to turn to me. You see these movies and dramas, right? Oh, if he turns back, that means he loves me. He's going, he turns back, he loves me. And he turns back, he loves me. Right? Do they do that in Bollywood movies and Hollywood movies? Yeah? Or if the girl is going, if she turns, that means she loves me. If she turns and the boy looking, and the girl turns like, that's it. He's like, but Krishna is not looking like that. Krishna is given the struggle comes, he's like, my child is going to turn to me and say, Papa, please save me. Daddy, please save me. Protect me from this. But we don't turn. We like, khich, what do you call in English? We drag ourselves and keep going away from Krishna. Krishna is like, can you please just turn just little bit towards me and say, Krishna, And then you may ask the question, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I'm chanting his holy names, why can't he do himself? Right? Why can't he do himself? I'm doing all this, I'm making cookies for him, I'm cleaning his temple room. Can't he do by himself? Do I need to tell him? My mom is not waiting for me to say if I get hurt. My mom is putting Band-Aid immediately. Why can't he do it immediately? He can do it. But if he does it, we will never realize that this world doesn't belong to us. The world that we are living in today, this material world is not our home. Our home is there back in Golok Vrindavan. And we will never realize that this is not we will happily go life after life after life after life. Like most of us our roots are in India, most of us are somewhere else. But we are in this country, but every time, every something comes up, automatically our thoughts goes to that place. Isn't it? When something happens, when happiness comes up, even some festival comes. Oh, in our hometown, we'll give a story, how we celebrate the festival in our hometown. Or some happiness comes, or some festival comes, then we say some like even Indian festivals comes. When I was a child, we used to celebrate the festival like this. Roots goes automatically like there. So our roots belongs there with Krishna. And Krishna wants us to come back home. And then he wants us to remember him so that we realize every time that this is not my home and I need to go back. But Krishna is not just sitting there and saying, try it. Try it and see if you can make it to Goloka Vrindavan. Try it and see, I'll see. He's not sitting like that. He's coming in so many incarnations. He's like, that donkey example that we spoke about. That owner is putting mud. But what did Krishna do for us? We are also in the well, trying to go up in the well of material world. But Krishna put 4 ropes, 4 sampradayas, right? Or Brahma Madhva Gauda Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya, Sri Sampradaya, and then Kumar Sampradaya. 4 ropes he left into the well. He said, hold on to any rope, then you will be able to come off the well. We are like, I can hold, but I don't want to put any force. I don't want to do any endeavor. But how does it work? Krishna wants us to put some endeavor. Krishna wants us to show that I really wanted to get out of this well. So he's sending spiritual masters. Spiritual masters are coming down that rope and saying, hold my hand, I'll take you. And we are promising to spiritual masters that I chant 16 rounds, I read scriptures, I will follow this, I will follow that. Are we really doing it? Chanting 16 rounds is good, but that is not the ultimate thing to go back to Goloka Vrindavan. We need to develop so many qualities of being a Vaishnava. And those qualities will come only when we try to show compassion to others, when we try to show kindness to others. And when something happens, first thing we need to learn being in a community that is going to grow much more bigger is stop talking about others. We need to help others to grow in Krishna consciousness. When somebody is growing, we should feel happy. When we feel happy looking at somebody else's progress, Krishna is happy. So all these spiritual masters are coming, they are saying, read books, do this, do that, do this. Why Prabhupada has to sacrifice everything? He has nothing to do. He has his wonderful home in Vrindavan. At that age, why he has to come to United States? Why he has to spend sleepless nights? Why he has to live with people who are drunkards? Why he has to walk, counting penny by penny? He doesn't take bus, he walks miles and miles to buy few vegetables. At that age, why he has to cook for every single person that is coming for the feast? People eat and go and then he cleans the dishes. That's what he was doing in the beginning. Nowadays, we are so many people just to delegate one service to one person is very difficult these days. Oh, Prabhu, I don't have time, I need to go. Oh, I don't have this, I don't have that. But he was doing everything himself. Why he has to do that? To give Krishna consciousness to us. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took sannyas at what age? 24. Why he has to take sannyas? He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All he has to do is glance at somebody and say, chant Krishna's name, and they can chant. That's what happened in Jharkhand forest. But he wanted to set an example of how to be a devotee. He wanted to show people how to chant the holy names. He wanted to show people what actually the humility means. How, in what mood we have to chant the holy names. So coming in that parampara, Prabhupada has given us everything that we have to do, everything that we can do. We are actually, they're saying, people says he born with golden spoon, something they say like that. Silver spoon, okay, golden, Kaliga. So silver spoon. So we are like that in Krishna consciousness. We doesn't have to go through any sacrifices. We are coming in winter, there is heater. In hot summer, there is an AC. Nice prasadam, nice juice, nice cakes. Festival comes, 10 kinds of preparations. Everything. Those days, beginning of Srila Prabhupada, the movement, Prabhupada disciples, they don't have a book to read. One copy comes out, it's like people will be hankering and dying for the book to read. So they used to sit during prasadam time, one person used to read, they used to open their ears like elephant ears. Let me listen to every word that is coming out of the book because I do not have the book. Now we have so many books and we keep them as it is. Prabhupada said Bhagavad Gita as it is, but we took one more step. Bhagavatam as it is, Chaitanya Charitamrita as it is, Krishna book as it is, everything as it is. Unless until we don't read the books, how are we going to distribute the books? Unless until we don't distribute, how are we going to help some other souls? Sometimes we think people don't take books, don't do this, but some small things happens in life, it changes their lives. Swami Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj, who came here last year, I think, from London, he was sharing one thing. He was distributing books in France. And France people are like, for my children, like say Narahari and Parikshit, like Parikshit's generation kind of people. They don't learn their mother tongue. They want their grandparents to learn English. Like that, like Parikshit. My mother, his mother, my husband's mother said, "Arey Baba, we can't speak English. You have to learn Telugu. You sit, I will teach you English." But I will not learn Telugu, right? So people in France are like that. You learn French. We are not going to learn English. So Swami Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj is distributing books. He's with his broken French and things. He's trying to speak. And this one person is walking by. He's very pretty young. And he was walking. He's like, "What is that book?" And then he's like, "Yeah, this is Krishna book." And then he showed this is Krishna book. And he's like, "Hey, I know him, Krishna." He's like, "I know him." He's like, "You know him?" So Maharaj got really happy. Oh, finally one person who speaks English and he knows Krishna. He's like, "Oh, really? You know him?" Like, "Where did you see him?" Like, "Oh, I went to India once, a couple of years back, and I saw him in a small village, in a small town." He's like, Where in India?" And he was telling this guy was telling Swami Bhagavan Maharaj, "Oh, you might not know anything in India." I'm like, "You can try me." Swami Bhagavan Maharaj, "Please try me. I may know, please try me, He's like, "Oh, I don't think so. You really will know where I saw this Krishna." And he said, "From the day I saw this personality, I could not sleep. I couldn't be myself. I couldn't do anything." I'm like, "Really? Where did you see him?" And this person like, "Oh, there is some city called Jaipur." And Swami Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj is like getting excited, right? He's like, "Oh, did you go to Jaipur? Which deity did you see? What's his name? And he pulled out something out of his pocket and he said, his name is Govinda. And Shoyamgar Mezuk immediately remembered Rupa Goswami. What did Srila Rupa Goswami say? If you have any tinge of material desire, please don't go to the... Where? Keshi Ghat. Don't go to Keshi Ghat. There is this rascal Tribhanga in Tribhanga form. If you see him, your material life ends. So this kid, he could not sleep, he couldn't do anything. After he saw that picture of Govinda, after he took the darshan of Govinda. So nobody could expect. So similarly with us also, when we distribute books, Prabhupada's mercy is flowing and we don't know who will change when and how. So unless until we read the books, we will not be able to convince people why they have to read the books, why they have to take the books. So we have to have that conviction first, that whatever Prabhupada has given, it's for us, it's for me, and I have to follow that first. And when we read those books, the scriptures emphasizes, the scriptures really reiterates every chapter, every word, every verse, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and He is the only shelter. So when we are happy or distressed, when we are happy we can say, oh thank you Krishna, thank you for... We do that most of the time. Oh, it's all Krishna's mercy, it happened Mata. It's really, I built a house, everything is done. It's all Krishna's mercy. And Krishna did one slap to us. Like, I don't know why he does this. I'm doing everything for him. I don't know why he does this. But we don't ask him, why did he give me home, Baba? Why did he give me a car? Why did I do? Why did he give me? We don't ask that. But we have to practice in our lives. Every time something happens. We are holding on to Maya. As I was saying, I was holding on to Maya. I'm not realizing my own father is standing in front of me in the form of books, in the form of holy name. And I couldn't recognize him. So let us all practice this Krishna consciousness very seriously, taking shelter of the holy name, praying to Srila Prabhupada for his mercy, so that we can recognize when our Father comes and stand in front of us. Even with that example in Krishna Leela, when Krishna goes to Mathura, he goes to this washerman. Right? What does Krishna ask for washerman? Hey, he's washing nice clothes of Kamsa. So Krishna says, can we have few dresses for me and my cowherd boys? And the washerman says, who are you? You are not even qualified to look at them. Forget about wearing it. You are not even qualified to look at these clothes. These belongs to King Kamsa. What do you think yourself? And then what did Krishna do? With finger, he chopped him. Right? Then Krishna shares with Balaram that this washerman, he did so many penances in his previous lives to see me, to come to me. And when I stand in front of him, he couldn't recognize. But the opposite happened with the hunchback lady. As soon as Krishna asks for the sandalwood paste, she immediately gave it. Can you imagine this hunchback lady going to Kamsa, and Kamsa is saying, where is my sandalwood paste today? And she's saying, oh, I gave it to Krishna, your enemy. What does Kamsa will say? He will kill her on the spot, but still she took that risk because she could recognize that he is something beautiful. I just want to do something for him. So in order for us, tomorrow Krishna can come in the form of anything or anybody in front of us. Unless until we learn to take internal shelter. Unless until we learn to develop that true love for Krishna, we will not be able to recognize and we will miss the chance in this life. So let us all pray sincerely at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada so that we can develop some seriousness and some sincerity in chanting our holy names and develop that love for Krishna. So one day we can recognize him and we turn towards Krishna in any distress or happiness. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Maybe one question. We have 2 minutes. Actually, Krishna Prabhu, if I cannot answer, you should answer yourself. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much for such a wonderful, inspirational discourse. My question was, when you mentioned about Draupadi and Gajendra, going through different difficulties in life, and so do we. So the mood of devotee should be they should completely surrender to the Supreme. And you gave an example until the point we have some faith in ourselves, our own efforts, we do not get His mercy. So my question is, what should be our mood? Like when we are going through something, should we completely surrender in the sense that stop doing any of our own efforts also, or just obviously fully be dependent on the Lord, or at the same time keep doing what we do, which should be a better approach?
We have our own examples in life. Did Srila Prabhupada came with Bhagavatam, sat in Boston airport and said, Harbor. Did he say, I came with Bhagavatam, Krishna, you told me to come to US. It's up to you now. Take this Bhagavatam and distribute, make own copies. He did not do that. But he had full faith in the holy name. He had full faith in the instruction of his spiritual master. He had full faith in Bhagavatam. But still he did what he's supposed to do. His faith did not deviate. Or else he did not sit idle, lazy, or lethargy, saying that he's supposed to take care. He even came into my dream in Jaladota. He said he will do everything. Where is he? He did not question that. He went through all those struggles, keeping that faith very strong in Krishna. So when something happens in our lives, Krishna has given us some intelligence, Krishna has given our abilities. What I am saying is we should not completely depend only on our abilities. We have to use our abilities in Krishna consciousness. We have to use our abilities, but our consciousness should be that I am able to do this because of His mercy. Without Krishna's mercy, I will not be able to do this. So when we have that consciousness, then automatically we are Krishna conscious. We are depending on Krishna on that. But with our abilities, we are praying to Krishna to utilize that ability in that service, in that struggle. Alright, the conscious boy. Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.